Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host on Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. Lots of news, as always, with the West Coast, and the Boston Red Sox are at the center of that. Now let's start with the good news. The good news is Jacoby Ellsbury continues to do well in the minor leagues. He's 7 for 14 at Pawtucket, and it looks like he will be back in the outfield for the Boston Red Sox in a matter of days, potentially Wednesday, Thursday. Still don't have a target date other than saying it will be before the end of the week. So if you've held on to Ellsbury all this time, get ready to activate him. The speedster might finally pay off now that his rib injury is in the past. Bad news for the Red Sox, however. Kevin Youkilis, he's been placed on the disabled list. He's got an issue with his thumb. Now, apparently he's got a pulled muscle in his thumb. It's an injury that we don't often see in baseball. The team is very concerned that if he exacerbates that issue, that the muscle itself could tear away from the bone. If that's the case, he would require surgery and probably miss the rest of the season. We're still trying to gather information on this injury, but again, he's on the disabled list. We don't quite know if it's a 15-day DL stint or if it's going to be something that's more prolonged than that. Bad news for the Red Sox. Guy hit 368 the past 3 weeks, the centerpiece of that lineup. Kevin Youkilis will go on the disabled list, and he'll be out for at least a couple of weeks. What do they do before I move on? Actually, Mike Lowell, very interesting. Mike Lowell, the team's tried to get rid of all along. Gone down to the minors. He's like 11 for his last 22. He's done a very good job at the dish. Mike Lowell's been activated from the disabled list. He's actually in the lineup and playing first base. He's physically compromised anymore. That hip of his really doesn't allow him to play third, but he could probably handle first base, and the team is going to have to count on a guy that they've basically been trying to rid themselves of for the past calendar year. Ryan Howard injured his ankle. Ryan Howard's on the disabled list, folks. This now makes every single member of that infield at one point or another for the Phillies on the disabled list, from Polanco to Utley to Rollins, and again now Howard. That ankle issue of his, not thought to be a major issue. The team was going to wait a couple of days and make the determination of whether or not he would need a DL stint. They decided, hey, let's just go ahead and do it. They placed him on the disabled list, the belief being he will be able to be activated in 15 days. Obviously, this is going to make it damn near impossible, barring a historic run to the finish line, for him to have another 40 home run season. He's still been very valuable. He's still had an excellent fantasy season despite the loss of the home runs, being that he's hitting about 300. But the Phillies will be without their first baseman and left-handed slugger for the next couple of weeks. Justin Morneau, another slugging first baseman, who's on the disabled list right now with a concussion issue, starting to see a little bit of improvement, getting a little bit of excitement, generating some positive feelings when he took some batting practice the other day. Well, apparently he suffered a bit of a setback. Now, the Twins are not calling it a setback, and I guess to be fair, it's not really a setback. But the next day he went out, wasn't able to do as much, had to shut it down a little bit earlier, and this is just kind of the way it goes with head injuries, with concussions. You feel good one day, you don't feel so good the next day. He'll continue to work his way back. Because of this most recent issue, we're probably looking at a mid-August return, because the longer this lasts, the more need he's going to have to go on a minor league rehab assignment. Hopefully the Twins, who get Joe Mauer back on this evening's game to the lineup, he's DHing and not catching, but at least he's back in the lineup. Hopefully they can stem the tide until Morneau is healthy enough to return to the lineup. Carlos Santana, he's not going to be returning to the lineup anytime soon, though the news is not as bad as first feared. If you went to BaseballGuys.com at Twitter yesterday, twitter.com/BaseballGuys, you would have got a chance to look at the video mere moments after it happened. Carlos Santana was run over at the plate. The injury looked catastrophic. His knee was rolled up on, his ankle was rolled up on, it was bent the wrong way. It looked like it was going to be the end of the line for Carlos Santana. It may be the end of the season for him. It may not be, however. He's got an LCL issue, lateral collateral ligament, and a knee sprain. He hyperextended the knee, but there is no issue with the ACL according to reports, which is obviously great news. There is a feeling that even though he's been placed on the disabled list, he could return this season. Further tests are going to have to be run. Santana is one of the key pieces of the future for the Indians. If there's any doubt whatsoever where he's at physically, he will not be brought back early. There's no point to that. The Indians aren't going anywhere. But the good news is it's not a catastrophic injury. Does not look like it's an issue that's going to require surgery. What do you do if you're a Santana owner? Well, you don't pick up Lou Marvin. He's not going to offer you anything at the dish. You might want to take a look at Adam Moore, who's been called up today for the Mariners. Really struggled at the start of the year with the big league club. Went down to the minors and really found his stroke hitting over 300. Adam Moore, name to remember if you need to replace Carlos Santana. Joey Votto, another player out, another first baseman out. We got a lot of them today, another left-handed slugger. News is better with him than the other two guys. He's got a wrist injury. He's available to pinch hit on Tuesday night, even though he's not in that starting lineup. Dusty Baker says he expects Votto, who has arguably been the National League MVP to this point, to be back in the lineup on Wednesday. monitor how he does when he returns, but it doesn't look like that wrist injury of his is going to keep him out much longer. Adam Dunn's been placed on waivers. Now, before you panic, before you think this means he's going to get traded, before you start running around wondering what really is going to happen, I would encourage everyone to go to rumorzone.com, and I'll put the link to the article here as well. I break down what it means for Dunn, what it means for the Nationals, what it means to be placed on waivers. Bottom line is, Dunn could be moved to another team. He might end up staying right where he is. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, read the article that you'll find a link to at rumorzone.com for a bit more on this situation. And then finally, sad case of Erik Bedard. He made 30 starts the first 2 years with the Mariners. Thought that he'd be healthy by May this year. The shoulder has not responded as hoped. He continued to have setbacks. Well, his season's now officially over. He's going to have surgery on his shoulder on Friday. We'll have to wait and see what the outcome of that is. Clearly, that wing of his may never rebound to the point where he'll be an effective big league hurler again. There have to be doubts at this point of whether or not he'll even make it to a big league mound ever again. Erik Bedard, been a pretty massive letdown for the Mariners, who they were hoping was going to be a number 1 or number 2 starter for their club after signing him to their deal. I'm Ray Flowers, SpaceballGuys.com. Don't forget to join me here every day for Around the Horn articles on the game of baseball, and to visit me at twitter.com/baseballguys for more information there. And don't forget to listen to the Fanball Fantasy Drive on XM 147 and Sirius 211 every afternoon, evening. Kyle Elfrink and myself, along with Kay Adams, host that show for XM Sirius Radio.